trickling rivers, drying out rivers, fully. Pipes. All of this is our creation. This is what we are capable of. Reducing the river flow at a faster rate than we could ever imagine. Our lives depend on this very fundamental element. Water, 72% of you is made out of it. The rest, 12%, is the earth that you accumulated by eating. The plants, the seeds, the vegetation, the animal flesh that came from plant and vegetation that was given from this earth free. Your fundamental existence of breath, the fresh air that exists, that you have a chance to breathe about 12 to 15 times per minute. Imagine that in about 5 years' time, when the plants and the rivers have completely dissipated from this earth. What are you going to breathe? A polluted cover of air? Your breath will restrict down to about 8 to 10 times per minute, because you will not grasp a full lung capacity of breath because there isn't enough air. If you're conscious about your children and bringing up your children with this kind of mentality and not relating, I mean, I've been traveling through this journey on this stretch of the road for almost 8 to 10 hours. I've not seen a single tourist. They're playing with their iPads, Candy Crush, sending messages, WhatsApp, exhausting the energy for themselves as well as the energy that we have generated by capping this water flow. That glacier is crying out loud and is clearly showing to all of us that water and that glacier has receded, and it's just about giving us this amount of water. The environmentalists and all the specialists there are on the planet, they can speak, write policies and come up with documentation and legal instruments. If you don't give the relevant education to our children now by relating them into the connection of this nature and the reality of the nature's depletion of soil, the topsoil, the animals, not seeing any or single one of them. There is no fish here, because we have done is poisoned them, including ourselves. A child born today is born with about 250 carcinogen chemicals in the mother's umbilical cord. Expect that to be the reality in the future to come. If it continue like this, we will only be producing sick and ill and terribly offset lives to this planet. And then we infuse them with chemically processed food, complemented by chemically processed capsules and tablets. So when we are about 15, 16-year-olds, we are already committing ourselves suicide. This is not a result because of the government. It is a result because of the parenthood not conscious enough or educated enough to give that support to their children that they bring onto this world. All they're doing is pushing an iPad, a larger version of it, and the latest iPhone in their face. By doing so, what does the child understand about this? Very little. What do they know about water? Nothing. What do they know about animal life in a cage or on their dinner table, on a plate as a steak or a chicken breast? Even that is chemically fed. I am sick and tired that people aren't able to understand these very fundamentals of life. All they see is that they produce children for the sake of continuing their own lifestyle to the next generation. Recycled impressions of lack of knowledge of how the world exists. We are a representation of this entire cosmos. This body is a representation of this earth. When you mutilate your body just like this, would you exist? No. Would you mutilate and rape your body or your child or your parents or your friends and family like this? You wouldn't do that. Whatever you don't do to yourself, you shouldn't be doing to anybody else or to this earth. I'm absolutely sick and tired of this very painful sight of our world. I'll do what I can, pick the plastic off here, while the construction site workers would have had their drink, not even had the courtesy to take this back with them. And all I can see is Mount Blanc is looking at me and looking at rest of the world and saying, enough you lot, try and open your eyes and be conscious and behave responsibly. What you wouldn't do to anybody else, you wouldn't do it to yourself. Why would you? In any given circumstance. Look at all this.
Okay, honey.
Tarmacs.
Okay, honey. It's 10 minutes.